Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. So I'm going to talk to you today about 3 simple ways to improve your music reading skills. Before I do go any further, I want to talk to you about my 1 to 30 violin course that I know a lot of you don't even know exists on this channel. My 1 to 30 violin course is a fully comprehensive and professional course that guarantees to take you from a complete beginner to a very decent, accomplished intermediate level by the end of it. The course is very simple and it's very easy to understand without the commitment of an in-person tutor, which is fantastic really and what most of us want. But it does guarantee to still give you the same level of skill that you would get from a private tutor. This course has been based on my 20 odd years of private teaching that I've done through the course of my career. The course has been designed so that anyone at any age and any level can follow it. The lessons and videos are very easy to follow and you don't need any prior knowledge of any music or any other instruments or anything whatsoever. The course covers everything from how to hold the violin, how to hold the bow, how to read music, technical exercises to improve your skill and dexterity, music theory, bowing techniques, more complex pieces, more techniques, everything that you could possibly need and much, much more. There really is no other course like this available on the internet and all the reviews on my shop speak for themselves. Basically what I'm trying to say is that my course will take you from this to eventually this. The course is 100% downloadable. There are no physical books to ship out, no waiting times or anything like that. As soon as you buy, you can download and get started on the course immediately. It's available worldwide to anyone and is available from my shop, www.amsmusicshop.com, and is priced at $59.99 US dollars. So basically, once you've paid, you can get started straight away. All you're going to need before you start and download the course is your violin and your enthusiasm. Okay, 3 simple ways to improve your music reading skills. Number 1, make sure you know your basic scales and the corresponding arpeggios and the key signatures. So all pieces of music are made up of scales and arpeggios. I've said this before, and we have pieces of music that are in certain keys. So the key of D, the key of A, the key of G, the key of F, the key of B flat, lots of different keys. Now, what does that mean? Each key a piece of music is in, which is a particular sound. A key is just a particular sound. Each key a piece of music is in has a corresponding scale to it. So let's say we're on the key of D. We need to know the scale of D in order to play that piece of music perfectly. And within each key stroke scale, we're going to have certain sharps and flats, and that's the kind of thing that we need to know. And this is covered in my book 2. So I was just talking to you a few moments ago about my 1 to 30 violin course. This is book 2. So when you get on to, when you've done lessons 1 to 10, you will then move on to Songbook 1, which is 10 pieces. Once you've done Songbook 1, you'll then move on to lesson 11, and this is in book 2. Now, lesson 11 is where I talk about scales and arpeggios. So scales are lesson 11, and they're on pages 5 through to 8. So you've got them all here. And then the arpeggios are on lesson 16 and onwards. And I also talk about key signatures in lesson 12, from pages 13 to 17. You don't need to remember those pages because it's all in this book, but this is a key signature test that I give you in this book. So all pieces of music are in certain keys, and at this point in the book, I'm teaching you the keys that the pieces of music you would be playing in would be. We're not doing any of the complicated key signatures right now because that doesn't really go hand in hand in the stage in your learning violin where you're going to be at this current time. So we're just learning certain keys and certain arpeggios and certain scales. So let's say, for example, we are in the key of D major. We need to know the scale of D major. Now, if we know where all our fingers go in the scale of D major, when we come to look at the piece of music which is in the key of D major, we're going to know exactly where those fingers go. So if you can look at a piece of music and know what key it's in, and you will know that because this is covered on my key signature section in from page 13, 14 and 15, you will be able to look at a key signature. You'll be able to look at a piece of music with 2 sharps in and say, right, D major, and you'll just know that. You'll be able to look at something with 3 sharps in and go, right, A major. And then you'll be able to play the A major scale. Your fingers will drop down exactly where they need to go, so that when you head over to your piece of music that you've recognised is in A major or D major or whatever key that is in, your brain will flip to the corresponding scale or arpeggio, whatever, and your fingers will automatically go down in those places, and you'll never have a problem with intonation, and you'll always be able to play music reading, or you'll always be able to learn to read music and play music very quickly if you know your corresponding scales to your keys, which is all covered in this course. This is why this course has been developed this way, because I know that it is really the best way to teach. So know your scales and arpeggios and know the corresponding keys so that you can tally up and put the two together. Number 2, scan over your music first to give yourself a bit of a heads up. So when I used to do a lot of sight reading in my younger days, I mean, even now when I'm learning a new piece of music and I'm looking at a piece of music now, I will always go to that piece of music and I will scan it through, because I just want to give my eyes and my brain chance to look at a piece of music and think, yeah, that's okay. Oh, don't like that one. Uh-oh, don't like those 2 little measures there. And then my eyes would look at that, scan in on that, and see if I can just try and decipher it. Sometimes when you look at a piece of music and you're giving it sort of a bit of a bird's eye kind of full glance, you might look at it and think, oh no, I don't like the look of that. If you were to look at this, you might look at that and instantly think, oh hell no, it's too much, it's too confusing. But then when you kind of take a closer look at it and you really start inspecting the notes, you're like, well, hang on a minute, that's just an open D, that's a B, that's an open G, then you've got an A, and you start dissecting the notes. Sometimes when we look at pieces of music, we see all the articulation and the arrows and the dynamics and the slurring and all this, that and the other, and it looks instantly confusing. There's a lot of black marks, dashes, dots, lines. There's a lot going on in the music, but take all that away, just look at the notes, and the whole thing just looks a lot easier as well. And actually something that looked really scary actually isn't, especially for example this line here where you've got a load of sharps and flats. That line looks quite scary because you think, oh, there's a lot going on there, but actually it's just a C sharp and a D sharp, and the notes actually aren't that scary at all. So what I'm saying is, if you have a good look at your music beforehand and take the fear factor out of it. So first glance at looking at this, I don't really like the look of that. But now I look much closely, it looks a lot easier to me, and it's comforting to me to know that it's not instantly as complicated as I thought it was, because there's a lot going on there. So if you blank a lot of it out, blank anything that's unnecessary out, you don't need to know about the performance directions. You're not going to be doing them until you've perfected the piece anyway. You don't need to know about particularly bowing, articulation and slurring. You're going to be putting that in the next stage once you've learned the notes, and you certainly don't need to worry about the dynamics or any expressions or anything like that, because you're going to be putting that nearer to the end anyway. So when you start taking all that out, then all you're left is the actual notes of the music, and that then it becomes, you're disarming the piece of music, and it becomes less scary for you. And the third way that you can do to help improve your music reading skills, kind of similar, moving on from point 2, is listen to the piece of music first. There's nothing wrong in listening to the piece of music first. I do it all the time. A lot of people discourage that. I know a lot of teachers discourage that and say that, you know, it can put you, it can give you false representations. It can make you want to go and mimic how they play. But I completely disagree. I think I look at a piece of music, this one, let's just say we'll go back to this one I was looking at, and you know, I'm looking at it and I get a particular flavour from it, and I've never heard this piece before. Obviously I have, but let's say I've never heard how this is supposed to go, so I don't really know, I have no idea of the flavour of it. It's like having a flavoured ice cream and you've got no idea what flavour you're picking, so you've got no idea whether you're going to enjoy it or what to expect of it, or what, you know, whether it's going to be fast, whether it's going to be slow, what, just nothing. You know nothing of the piece of music. So if I hear it first, the other thing I can do, apart from giving myself a heads up, which I was covering in point 2, is I can look at it, and now I'm putting sounds to what I can see on the music. It's like talking to someone on the phone forever, and you've never actually seen them in person, so you don't know what they look like, and you kind of have something in your head as to what you think that person looks like based on their voice, and then when you do see them in person, they look completely different to how you kind of imagined them. So it's this kind of thing. So you're just putting a face to a name, so to speak. So I think if you listen to it, once you've given yourself a heads up and you've looked at it, you can put that together, and it's like you're now seeing the whole picture as opposed to just seeing half the picture. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. All the links to my 1 to 30 violin course and anything else I've mentioned will be directly underneath this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.